3, 2, 1.
What is up? We're on Tai Lopez's live stream right now. I'm Stephen Lau, the credit mentor. I'm teaching Tai's credit mentoring program. We're live here from Beverly Hills at Tai's mansion. Here, we did a live call last night. I kind of answered some questions on credit, gave you guys some tips that you can immediately start using. And for those of you that missed that live call, I'm here again doing a quick Q&A, giving you guys some stuff to walk away with today to immediately start applying to your credit. So we're just gonna get started. Video team here is prepping, getting the comments rolling, seeing how you guys are doing. So let's see. Yeah, to give you a quick intro, if you guys haven't seen my face or haven't seen any of the ads, I'm Stephen Lau. Instagram handle Laostep, L-I-A-O-S-T-E-P if you're not following me. I'm from Ohio. A year ago, I dropped out of Stanford, got $3 million in lines of credit in less than a year, and I'm sitting here with around 220 credit cards. It's probably around 230 now. Just keep applying for cards. And I'm going to teach you all the secrets that I used in this mentoring program that we're putting together, where all the strategies I used, how to call, how to speak to underwriting teams, how to use credit cards to get reward points, and how to travel the world for free, how to get cash back, how to maximize your credit line, teach you the secrets how I got to 3 million in less than a year. And it starts from, you start with less than like average credit score, all the way to if you already have 800 credit score. Any of these things can apply to you because we not only teach personal, we also teach business credit. So if you know what like a FICO score, a Vantage score is, that's great. But there's also stuff that we talk about how to grow your Paydex score for your business accounts. Do we have some comments rolling?
Someone says, yo, what's good?
What's his name? I'll shout him out.
Jamani Buckner.
Jamani, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna give us some quick info. If you guys were in last night tuning in, you probably have already seen a lot of this information. But we're just gonna do a quick recap, and then one of the first things we talked about yesterday was getting a Credit Karma account. A lot of you guys, go through high school and go through college and come out, and the school system has failed you because you still don't know how to open a credit card, you don't know how to take out a mortgage, you don't know how to take out a loan, and how credit really works. So we're going to go over the 6 biggest factors that apply to credit and how it affects your score. Uncle John, Aunt Sally telling you don't open a credit card because it's evil. We're going to debunk some of these myths so you guys can walk away today with some more confidence in applying for your first credit card or maybe your 5th credit card, or just getting more lines of credit, not going into debt, and strategies that I use to keep my credit up there. So I started off with a 580 credit score. That's where most people start off, 580 to 620. And from there, in a year, I grew it. Right now, I'm sitting around 780. Let's see, just want to see some of these comments. Where Tai Lopez at? I don't know where Tai is. He's somewhere here. He's headed to San Diego today. From Michigan. That's cool. I'm already over 825, but what does that get me? We'll talk about all that, some cards that you can get if you're below 620, some cards that you can get if you're right in the average range, and some like premium cards that you can get once you hit that like 760, 770, or 800 range. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is the 6 factors of credit. We all know that paying your credit card on time is good for your credit, right? That's payment history. That's one of the factors of your credit. Second thing is credit card utilization. This is a thing that most people don't know about. Uncle John, Aunt Sally just tells you, turn on automatic payment, use a lot of your credit, max out your credit card, and just pay it off at the end of the month, and that's good for your credit. Well, that's actually hurting your credit. If you don't already know, credit card utilization means, like, for example, if you have a $1,000 line of credit and you spend $500, you're using 50% of your total credit. What you want to keep is you want to keep that utilization under 9%. So, if you're using $900 of credit a month and paying it off, sure, you're getting the payment history on time, right? But 90% of utilization is actually hurting your score. And to give you an idea, it's actually hurting your score as much as if you just didn't pay that bill, if you missed that payment. So one of the first things that you guys should be walking away with today, if you already have a credit card, make sure your utilization is down. If you owe some credit, or if you owe the banks, if you owe these credit cards money, try and figure out a way to pay it off as soon as possible. One of the rule of thumb that I use, I treat all my credit cards like debit cards. In some circumstances, once you get to some more advanced techniques, you can go into the red and come back. But the strategy I use is if you only have X amount of money in your bank, that's how much credit you have. Doesn't matter. If I have $3 million of line of credit, but I have $20 in my bank account, guess what? I'm only spending $20 this month. So good rule of thumb, only spend what you have. If you only spend what you have, you never owe money. You never have to worry about going to debt. I was reading some of the comments on a previous video. They said, yeah, $3 million, you go $3 million in debt. That's not true. You just don't use the credit, or you use it and you accumulate smart debt. You can transfer between doing some smart balance transfers. But again, you don't want to go into the red if you don't have the money to pay it back, right? You don't need that Rolex, you don't need the Gucci slide, or you don't need to buy stuff you do not need. Only make sure you're using your credit to buy stuff you actually need or investing in businesses that can produce an ROI. So we're going to go, we've already gone through 2 of these factors of credit. If you want to know where I'm actually getting these 6 factors of credit, go sign up for a Credit Karma account. If you're watching on your phone, go on your laptop, go to creditkarma.com. If you're watching on a computer, go to your phone, download the Credit Karma app, sign up for your Credit Karma account. It's going to ask for your social. This is another thing. A lot of people are scared that checking your credit hurts your credit score. Again, a myth that gets passed around because people don't really understand how credit works. Checking your credit for your own personal use does not hurt your credit. Checking your credit to actively apply for more credit is going to hurt your credit, and that's called a hard inquiry and a soft inquiry. Soft inquiries do not hurt, hard inquiries do. So going to apply for a Credit Karma account does not hurt your, is that good? We're good?
Yeah, we just had to reset Instagram.
Instagram crashed again? Got it. So what you want to do is you apply for a Credit Karma account. It's going to come up with these 6 factors. You're going to see your TransUnion credit report, and you're going to see your Equifax credit report. These are 2 of the bureaus that essentially report on what your credit is. There's also a third one called Experian. If you want to know what your Experian credit report looks like, you can go to Experian.com, and they'll actually give you your credit report for free. So we're going to talk about these next 4 factors that impact your credit and how you can use it to improve. So, all right, for those of you hopping on Instagram again, sorry, the feed just cut out. I'm just going to reintroduce myself real quick. My name's Stephen Lau. I'm with Tai. I'm teaching Tai's credit mentoring program. I dropped out of Stanford a year ago. I'm from Ohio, and so if you're from Ohio, shout out to you guys. And so I accumulated $3 million of lines of credit. I proved that I can handle my credit pretty well. I have 200 credit cards. I got the Centurion Black card all in this past year, and I've been traveling the world for free. I actually made some good side money on credit cards. So a lot of people think credit cards are so evil and scary. There's actually some ways to make money using credit cards. That's pretty simple. It's like a step-by-step process, and we're teaching all of that in the credit mentoring program. Tai, for the next 7 days, is actually cutting the price in half with his, he's bringing 300 people from rags to riches. So he's actually going to pay half of the cost for the program for you guys to get into the credit mentoring program. So with that said, if Instagram's back on, we're going to hop right back in. If you missed out on the stream Instagram, you guys can check out on YouTube. The stream's going to be on there after. So some of the other things, so we have credit card utilization. That's how much percentage of your credit you're using. You want to keep that under 9%. Your payment history, that's the most obvious one. Pay your credit cards on time. Pay your loans on time. Pay your mortgage on time. The third one is derogatory marks. So this kind of goes hand in hand with payment history, but it's not just missing a payment. It's when you continuously miss a payment and your credit card bill gets sent to collections, and that becomes a derogatory mark. And those are not good. You essentially want to have 0 of those. But if you don't, it's okay. If you have 1 or 2, there's actually a way. It's called cfpb.gov. It's a government website. You can dispute it. Even if you are in the wrong, there's ways to renegotiate that, and that's what CFPB is there for. You can go and dispute it and say hey, I was inexperienced. I wasn't that well-versed with credit, and here I'm trying to repay this collection. and I was seeing if you guys would be able to, as a goodwill gesture, remove it. And the good part about CFPB is they have to respond to you within 14 days. So in 14 days, you get a response back, either yes or no, and then once you get your response, it's either a good to go, or you can actually, you can restart it and appeal it. Cool. All right. So now we have these 3 factors of credit. We have the, and actually, can we tear this down?
Yeah, you can just flip it.
Tear this down. So for you guys tuning in, if you missed the first 3 credits, I'm just going to write this on the board. Put it up there. 6 factors of credit. All right, so the first one that we had was payment history, the most obvious one. This is just paying your credit card, paying your loans on time. We have number 2. Did Instagram just crash again?
No, it's fine on our side.
This Instagram just crashed. So the second one, we have credit card utilization. So what credit card utilization is, if you missed out, the utilization is how much of your total credit line you're actually using. So if you have a $1,000 credit line and you're only using $100, using 10% of it. You want to keep that number under 10%. Ideally 9% or below. So the third one, we had derogatory marks. So this is similar to payment history, but it's when you continuously miss a payment and then it gets sent to collections and the collection agency comes after you. That's where you don't want to be. You want to have ideally 0 of these marks. So we're going to go on to the 4th factor of credit. If you want to know where I'm actually getting these, I just kind of shouted out to you guys. You said go to creditkarma.com. Go to creditkarma.com. You're going to find all of these 6 factors on there. Checking your credit does not hurt your credit if it's just for personal use. If you're not actively applying for it, which when you go on Credit Karma, you're not actively seeking new credit, you're good. Instagram is crashed again? Got it. So for the 4th one, we have the average age of credit. So there's 2 factors here for age. There's the average, and then there's the oldest account. So what this means is if you have one credit card and you open it today and you wait a year, that credit card is a year old now. And so that one credit card now has an age of 1 year. And if you only have one, your average age is also a year. Now, if you open one credit card today, wait a year, it's a year old. And then you open a second credit card a year from now, that credit card is going to be 0 years old. And with 1-year-old credit card on the first credit card that you open, you're going to have an average age of 6 months. So what that means is you essentially want to have a high average age and then also the oldest account. And the magic number for the people trying to get an 850 perfect credit score, which I do not have because I've only had credit for about a year and a half, is to have over 9 years of credit. So credit is not something that you just start out with, for this month or the next 6 months and then you just forget about it. It's something that you're going to continuously use throughout your life, all the way till you die. So this is something that you want to be able to understand, the average age. The age thing is also part of the reason why a lot of people think when they open a credit card, it hurts their score. Opening a credit card doesn't directly hurt your score, but it does lower the average age of accounts. So what that means is, if you have a 9-year, if you've had one credit card for 9 years, and then all of a sudden you open another credit card with 0 years old, your second credit card, your average age becomes 4.5, right? Because 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So now you have a 4.5-year-old credit for average age, and that's going to significantly drop your score. So the other thing is we're going to talk on the 5th factor is number of accounts. The number of accounts you want to have 21 lines of credit reporting. So not just lines of credit, but just credit accounts. So this could be a loan, this could be a mortgage, this could be a car payment, this could be credit cards. These are all things that you want, and you want to have more than 21 of them to have an 850 credit score or more. Again, where did I get that number? If you go to creditkarma.com, you'll actually see it there. If you're just tuning in now, what we're talking about here, we're talking about credit. We're talking about the credit mentoring program on how you can take some tips away from here and also follow my steps on how I got to $3 million lines of credit, how I got 220 credit cards. So I'm going to share some of the secrets I used to get there in this credit mentoring program. So do we actually have the link for that? The link is in the description, right?
To the
The course. So if you're watching from the platforms, the link's in the description, or if it's in this title, it's somewhere. Look for it. Tai's actually cutting the price in half. He's paying half of the cost as part of his paying it forward. He's going to bring 300 people from rags to riches. So make sure you get into that course. It's only available for the next 7 days if you get in. So jumping right back in here, okay, we have it right here. So if you're on Facebook Live, the link is tailopez.com/credit secrets. If you're on Instagram, it's tailopez.com/credit line. If you're on Twitter, it's tailopez.com/build credit. If you're on YouTube Live, tailopez.com/credit hacks. So we're going to hop back in here, talk about the 6 factors of credit. So we talked about the age, the average age, and then the number of accounts. So why is this important, right? Say you have one credit card that you just kept open, and you kept it open for 10 years, and then you realize that you're never going to be able to achieve an 850 credit score because you only have one credit card, and you need 21 or more accounts, right? So this is where the number of accounts comes in to be very important. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So what that means is if you open a card today, it's going to be 0 years old. But then in 9 years, it's going to be 9 years old. So what you want to do is you want to get to 21 accounts as quick as possible before you get a mortgage. If you plan on taking out a mortgage, I don't recommend getting credit cards in rapid succession. But if you're not actively, or if you don't have any plans to get a mortgage, if you don't have any plans to take out a big loan, this is where you want to start building up the number of accounts you have. All of your accounts are going to be 0 years old, and they're going to be pretty new, but in 9 years, the age is going to come in, and it's going to help really support and stabilize your credit because you're going to end up having 21 accounts, all of them being 9 years or more. So these two right here will very, very, very highly impact your score when they're combined together here. And then we have the last one. This is hard inquiries. We're going to quickly answer some questions on hard inquiries. So checking your score on Credit Karma does not hurt your score because that's a soft inquiry. Soft inquiries are when you're checking it for your own personal use, and hard inquiries are when you're actively seeking credit. So the difference between this, the hard inquiries, is just you trying to get credit. The thing is about hard inquiries, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on it because they think that hard inquiries hurt your credit score the most because when you open a new credit card, they'll say, oh my God, I dropped 30 points or 40 points. In actuality, hard inquiries are only supposed to drop your points 5 to 6 points per inquiry you do. The thing is that correlation doesn't imply causation. So when you open a new credit card, it's also lowering the average age, which is here, and then it's also, you're increasing the number of accounts, but you're lowering the average age, and this factor number 4 is actually why your score is dropping. However, if you had, say 100 credit cards and they're all, 5 years old, opening one new credit card is not going to impact your score as much because one credit card with a 0 age averaged into, 50 or 100 credit cards or accounts that you have, it's not going to lower that as much. Versus if you only have one credit card that's, a year old and you open a new credit card, it just divided that by 2. So I'm going to take some quick questions here. I'm going to hop around Instagram. I'm going to start on Instagram right here. Do you guys have any questions on the 6 factors of credit? If you do, go ahead, shoot it into the comments below. I'm going to try and answer some of this. Let's see.
Someone asked on YouTube, how long after getting your first card do you apply for your second card?
How long after your first card do you apply for your second card? One of the things that we talk about in the course, which I'm going to let you in on a little secret, is how do you combine hard inquiries? So a lot of people say, hey, Steven, you have 220 credit cards. Does that mean you have 220 inquiries? What I actually do is you combine hard inquiries. If you apply for multiple credit cards from the same bank in one day, you can actually get all of that combined under one hard inquiry. So I could apply for 10 credit cards from one bank and only get hit with one hard inquiry and have the potential to get 10 credit cards. Is it likely that I'm going to get approved for all 10? Probably not, but I could at least get approved for 1 or 2. So the time before you applying for your first credit card and your second, I would suggest just applying for 2 or 3 from the same bank, and maybe you get approved for 1 and then you get denied for the other 2. One of the things we talked about in last night in a live stream, I'm just going to quickly, briefly mention it. We also go in depth on it in course, is the reconsideration line. So when you get denied for a credit card, it's not the last chance you get. They send you a letter, and there's actually a phone number on there. You call it, you can speak to an underwriter, and you can actually humanize your credit report. So humanizing yourself is really important because it's not just about a number, right? A 760 or a 580 or a 641 doesn't define you. So when you call in, you can actually say that, hey, my name is Steven. I really want this credit card. Here's the reasons why. Here's how I'm going to use this credit card. Hear me out. Humanize yourself. Make them see you as you, not just a number. So you can actually use that to your advantage. It's called a reconsideration line, and we actually put together scripts inside the credit mentoring course where we teach you how to speak to these underwriters and how to overturn a denial into an approval.
Someone asked, does canceling a credit card hurt your credit?
Canceling a credit card does not hurt your credit score, but I highly suggest not doing it unless if there's a high annual fee and you cannot get that waived. And you can get annual fees waived through something called a retention offer. You can, again, we talk about it in the course. I'm not going to go in depth on it. If you want to join the course, we talk about it. We give scripts on how to negotiate and get $450, $550 annual fees. Sam, the video guy back here, he actually got his annual fee waived by calling in using the same strict script. So it works. We have a lot of testimonials of that happening. Getting $95 annual fees waived and then still taking advantage of how great the card is. Let's see.
Somebody asked, if you have multiple cards with high utilization, which one do you focus on paying off first?
So I would pay off. So to repeat the question, it's if you have multiple cards with high utilization, how do you prioritize the ones to pay off first? What you want to do is pay off the ones with high interest first. And if needed, if you need help, open credit cards that have 0% APR, no interest for a year or 2 years. One of them is the Citi Simplicity. The Chase Slate is a second credit card. Both of these credit cards have no interest, and you can balance transfer from other cards on there. So if you have a card you owe $1,700 on, you can actually balance transfer that and not pay the 22% interest that's going to screw you over, and you end up paying like $4,000 after a year. You can take that and balance transfer it onto a card where it gives you a year to figure out how you're going to pay off the credit card. So that's how I would prioritize it. I would prioritize the ones with the highest interest first, and if it's possible and you can get approved for, balance transfer the balances from those onto a card with 0% interest.
Carlos on Facebook asked, when you apply for each card, it asks for your income. How does income affect the size of the credit line?
So income has a high correlation with the credit line you get. So what will happen is, if you put in, you only make $10,000 a year, you're going to get a lower credit line than somebody that puts in, I make $1 million a year. However, that's not the end. Once you get the card, you can show that you're responsible using it, maybe buy $1 or $2 items once a month and just pay it off and then just never touch it again. And then 3 months later, you can actually call in and request for a CLI, a credit line increase. And what happens here is you can say look, the reason I'm not using your credit card is because you gave me such a small amount of credit. How am I supposed to buy some of the items I actually want? So I just revert to using my debit card. And they want you to use their credit card. So it gives them more incentive to extend to you more credit. So never lie on a credit card application. Say that, if you make 10,000, say you make 10,000, because it's fraud if you say you make 10,000, you're saying you're making $1 million. So that is a direct correlation with the size of your credit and your income. And then, so I have about 2 minutes left before I have to hop onto another jet. I'm headed back home in Vegas. So if you're in Vegas, hit me up on Instagram or Snapchat. My Instagram handle is Laostep, LIAOSTEP. And here, I'm going to go ahead and write that down. And my Snap is just my name. So I travel a lot. If you guys want to see this in action, me going through with all the credit cards and all my credit card reward points, staying at Ritz-Carltons, flying on private jets. Again, a year ago I had nothing. This was all very new to me a year ago, and I made this all happen. So, if you're on IG, follow me, hit me up in the DMs. If you see me in a city you're in, maybe we can meet up. if you see me on Snap, that's where I'm more active and more intimate. Hit me up on Snap. Let me know what city that you see me in, and maybe we can grab some lunch. So I have about 1 minute left. I want to take a couple more questions.
There's a lot on YouTube asking how to get rid of hard inquiry.
Got it. So yeah, a couple people are asking how to get rid of hard inquiries. There's really not a direct way. However, CFPB is one of those. So if you don't recognize a hard inquiry, you can go to cfpb.gov, dispute a hard inquiry, and 9 times out of 10, they usually don't investigate too much into it and will just give you a pass and give you the benefit of the doubt that that hard inquiry actually didn't happen. So I actually did get a couple of my hard inquiries off. I think it was a Victoria's Secret credit card. I don't know, I was running out of credit cards to apply for, and I had a hard inquiry from Victoria's Secret. It was from Community Bank, and I got it waived. So it does work. Hit up cfpb.gov, and that's one other thing. Let's see. Do we have one more question? One last question I'll answer before I have to hop on. Does applying for okay, so this is coming in from Facebook. Does applying for a higher credit line cause a hard inquiry? Applying for a higher credit line for certain banks do cause hard inquiries. So they usually will read a statement to you and a disclosure saying that if you continue, we will pull another credit report. Absolutely do not. Just let it naturally happen. Other banks will do a soft pull, and they actually won't hurt your credit. And then if that's the case, you're not risking anything, so you can get your credit up through that way. So it's do your research, right? So like US Bank sometimes does it, sometimes doesn't. American Express actually has it inside their website where you can just request a credit line increase of up to 3 times without a hard inquiry. So that's another. So it's all dependent on the credit card. So before I hop off, just want to push this to you. We're teaching the 4 pillars of getting good credit, how to have excellent credit and how to extend it for a long amount of time throughout your life, and how to build good strategies and build good habits. Second one, how to travel for free, how I traveled the world for free for the past year in luxury, not just flying on Frontier and Southwest, but I'm flying on first class and sometimes even on private jets. On top of that, how to maximize your credit line. I'm going to show you the secrets on how I got to $3 million in lines of credit across my personal and my business credit in just a year. And the last one is how to get some cash back. So you can actually use credit cards. There's secrets out there that we can't just share, because if we share it, then the banks are going to come in and shut it down. So we're actually going to limit the amount of people into this course, because not everybody can know these secrets on how to make money using credit cards. Not just using your credit line to make money, but using the reward side to make money. So if you're not already in it, if you're on Facebook Live, it's tailopez.com/credit secrets. If you're on Instagram, tailopez.com/credit line. If you're on Twitter, tailopez.com/build credit. And if you're on YouTube, it's tailopez.com/credit hacks. So go ahead and sign up. Tai's actually covering half of the costs for the next 7 days. So make sure you get in the next 7 days. And only these links that we just posted here will have that 50% off offer. So go ahead, jump in. I have to head out to my jet, so I will see you guys later. Hit me up on the DMs, add me on Snap, and I'll see you guys later.